Welcome to the American Institute of Healthcare Professionals video on Christian counseling and the noises of the world. And this video in particular is excellent for those in spiritual direction or Christian counseling or spiritual counseling. And there is a very big importance for guidance in spiritual direction when it comes to individuals who are trying to find their way. And this is a common problem when individuals are distracted or lose focus on God, and they seem to become overwhelmed. So, since the fall, we are all called to various things, and there are many of those needs without constraint or control that we indulge in. Of course, the will, which is part of our intellectual soul, seeks out things that may appear to be really good, but might be bad as well for our long run, like a small child maybe drinking something too sugary or getting into various foods that aren't really that great for them, but they're really good in the moment, the extra sugar and everything. So, in the same way, when we see things as adults, our will sees things only really in the moment and how great they are. And because of the fall, we have a lack of control of our passions as it is. We tend to indulge ourselves with these things, and they can distract us from what is long-term good and what we want. And I like to refer to that in this video as the noises in the world. And not all things that we see or want or desire or that call our name out are bad. So some of these noises can be good, some can be bad, or some can be neutral in how they distract us from our primary purpose, which is to know, love, and serve God. Now, St. Teresa of Avila, in her classic, The Interior Castle, speaks of the first mansion and even the second and third mansions of the soul, which she compares to a castle. And she speaks of how that soul is distracted while seeking God. And this is especially true with these distractions and these noises within the first three mansions. The soul is called in and out of these mansions as one discovers and becomes closer to God. But within those first three mansions, it's much easier to regress and fall back, especially the first. The first mansion, it's very loud outside, and individuals tend to go out and become distracted by the world and then re-enter. So these distractions or noises can hurt our end goal, which is God. So it's very important to have Christian counselors, spiritual directors, pastors slash priests, all be able to help individuals identify the noises of the world, the distractions of the world, and how they are good or bad. So let's look first at some good and necessary noises. Of course, God is our primary end and goal, and everything needs to lead to God. Anything that takes away from God is unnecessary noise. But many temporal things in our physical existence are necessary noises in life. So temporal reality demands certain things to survive. These necessary noises are good and also neutral in moral value sometimes. For example, having to pay a bill, fixing your car, handling a client, meeting a deadline at work, finding time just to go to a restaurant or a movie that's secular in nature. These are all necessary in life. And they're noises that call out a part of our social being to others, as well as our daily vocation to our job, to our family. And are they immediately directed to God? No. But are they part of our existence in the temporal reality? Absolutely. So when we offer to God what we refer to as our daily duty, we offer to God everything we do becomes a prayer, becomes spiritualized. And then we can turn these necessary noises into a prayer, much like St. Teresa the Little Flower, a different St. Teresa did, where she turned her chores in the convent into prayers to God by offering them through Christ to God. So God understands we cannot continuously contemplate him and that we have to exist. Even Jesus himself, who is God, existed in the temporal realm. He was a carpenter by trade before he entered ministry. So there are things that he had to handle and do. He even went to a wedding feast at Cana. There were social obligations. So if we invite God into every morning into our daily duty and allow Christ to transform our prayer, then these things, these social obligations and things, while they're not immediately turned to God, become for God by that. So these are good and necessary noises. We need them. We need them to survive in itself, but we can combine them with what we need to do. Now, there are definitely bad and unnecessary noises. Sometimes noises can be inherently evil, immoral, or completely and totally unnecessary. So discernment teaches when actions and distractions and noises contradict the law and morality of God, how they push us away from God, take from God, and our duties to God. And in that way, they become bad and unnecessary. So anything immoral or wrong, something that pushes us away from God, is unnecessary. Now, sometimes they can be immoral in themselves, but sometimes they can also be neutral, but due to the excess put into it or the focus that is stolen from God, they can become evil and unnecessary. So if you become obsessed with a particular thing that is neutral in itself, with work maybe, or a certain gaming that you might like to do, or a television program, to the point where you put your duty to God second, then these become distractions that are no longer neutral or good and healthy, but they become unnecessary due to the extremity of it. So we can't allow fun and entertainment and even work to steal from God and allow these neutral actions to become unnecessary. Now, in addition, various stressors can also dominate us. And through no fault of our own, we have to deal with a lot of things that upset us in daily life, whether at work, home, or school. These things can push us to the brink of insanity, and we become so stressed, so distraught that we lose peace. Maybe because we're not praying enough or offering to God everything in the morning, but we lose our peace. And that's what the devil wants. So these noises distract us. They make us angry. They confuse us. They push us away from God. And they're meant to distract the soul. So anything with vice, bad habits, as well as gossip, these things can distract the soul. Also, needless debates, politics, and infighting can steal peace. How many times do individuals spend too much time on social media, arguing needlessly, having their peace stolen, and then becoming distracted and bitter and not giving God his due in terms of worship and adoration? So it's important to identify these types of noises and find direction. So I think the best way is by having good spiritual hygiene, which can help individuals, because of the presence of God being invited into one's life, to better identify true noise and focus instead on God. And this will again bring peace. And this is where spiritual directors and Christian counselors can help guide individuals who are struggling balance with the world and with God. And we can make God part of our day just through the morning offering, daily scripture, Catholic, Sunday Mass, Protestant services, and you're putting God part of your week. Regular prayer. All of these things are spiritual hygiene, and they help. Reception of the Eucharist. All these things help us better react and respond to stressors or various problems. I think also learning stress management, how to manage one's stress, and various discernment skills are also essential. So when you're looking to manage your time, any type of life coach will look into this with you. How you plan your goals and your dreams, and how do you rank them in importance from a daily, weekly, monthly, or annually period of time. So if you're trying to figure out what is important to you today, rank it. And how much will it affect you later during the week? How much will it affect you during monthly? That way you can distinguish what is most important and rank them and be able to know what day or what week or what month they need to be dealt with and how they correspond with your ultimate goal, which is God. So how we see how these things affect us positively and negatively with our relationship with God is really important, because all of these things ultimately are nothing compared to the final end, which is God in the next world for eternity. So we need to really begin to, through stress management skills and spiritual discernment, identify and rank and see how things can better fit our schedule so that unnecessary and wrong noises aren't in the wrong place. And finally, again, the emphasis of prayer and spiritual hygiene so that anything we do that is good can also become a prayer within itself. This is our Christian counseling certification. Our phone is 330-652-7776, and our email is info@aihcp.org. Please, to watch other videos that are very much like this or in mental health or healthcare, not necessarily of a spiritual nature, please subscribe to our channel. And I also would like to thank you for listening and have a good day.